I had someone recently coming up to me and saying, "Oh, is it tea, but it's considered coffee."
That's really going to change everything.
You considered those people on the ground.
We always knew that something wasn't there, and how do we do that?
Because the minute we get in the way and we give a false impression of who we are, it's almost like we lose the essence of what specialty is.
We are going to embrace technology to enhance the human experience.
I just knew that there was something more we could do. We do so much on farm level.
And I think that for us is something we've been working on for a few years now. And I think we've got the package that.
It's almost a business that becomes sort of generous across all aspects of what we do.
What people can expect in these stores. It's going to be something very, very interesting.
We hope that it really connects with a lot of people.
It's considered everything.
All right, so back at it again. In the first sort of installment, we spoke about the origin stories. We spoke about how we sort of fell in love with coffee, the heart of coffee, the pillars of our business, what we really prioritize. I thought in this episode, we should talk about the future of SEAM, something that we talk about on a daily basis, multiple times a day, the incredible excitement of what lies ahead. Recently, we rebranded, which was years in the making. You and I went back and forth ad nauseum.
How we still bonded, I don't understand.
to the point where even the curve on the A and how low that little leg drops down. But it was a beautiful experience, I feel, and I think it's enriched us both because it brought us closer to that very thing that we're wanting to do, which is simplicity. Where I love what you said earlier when we were talking before we started recording about the brand almost getting out of the way for the coffee.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a bit about that?
So I think, we've been busy with this for quite a few years. It hasn't been a short time, and I think because both of us are so details orientated, that's why I'm surprised we actually got this across the line, but we did, and I think we both agreed that it was the first phase. It's a journey, and it will continue to be a journey. But I think that we always knew that something wasn't there, and how do we do that? And I mean, even our catchphrase, considered coffee. It's considered everything. Considered
beautiful.
How we interact with customers, how we interact with our own staff, how we interact upstream with our partners at Source. So I think quite interestingly, but at the same time, it had to be very simple. In that coffee must be the hero, and the stories that make up those interactions that make up our brand.
Beautiful.
So how could we do it simply and approach it in a humbler way?
I love that because I think that's exactly what it is. I remember when you told me about considered coffee, my initial response was, I love the heart of that, but I wonder if people will get it. And I think sometimes there's some confusion. I had someone recently coming up to me and saying, "Oh, is it tea, but it's considered coffee." But actually, when you dig into it a little bit, there's something beautiful about being able to dig into a story a bit and then to sort of glean from the heartbeat of that. And to hear the heart of the fact that actually, no, it just means the whole process is considered. And it's the heart of what we were chatting about in the last installment, which is your love for people and how you first birthed the business. You considered those people on the ground. And we'll talk a little bit more about how we're now looking to consider more and how to upskill. But I love that sort of thought of the brand gets out of the way. Yeah. It's not about how cool we can appear to be. No. Sure, we want to do things with excellence. We want it to be beautiful. We've obviously got a design team that has worked on the branding, so it hasn't been a lazy process, but it certainly has been one where it must reflect, I love what you're saying, it must reflect humility. Because the minute we get in the way and we give a false impression of who we are, it's almost like we lose the essence of what specialty is.
Absolutely.
So I think that's pretty beautiful. I think there's so much to speak about in this episode that I need to just control myself here because there's so much we could say. There's so much we've been wanting to say.
There's exciting stuff happening. Incredibly
Amazing.
exciting stuff.
Now we've seen the specialty industry grow. Obviously, we've recently been to Dubai, Melbourne, Asia, and the specialty scene there is massive. And I think South Africa is still got a ways to go. We're still a number of years behind. Us growing up with the wimpy bottomless, and that was beautiful for its time. We all needed it.
Yeah.
And now people are expecting something else.
Absolutely.
And the coffee industry is said to be growing at about 7.3 or 7.5% a year. That's quite large, and said to be at the point of about 20 billion rand at the 2030 mark or so. So we need to get on with what's going to be really part of people's daily ritual. So, brother, I want to share some of our plans for the future.
All right, super. So I think everybody says, well, the market is saturated. We've been speaking to some incredibly knowledgeable guys in the business, and people who we take some guidance from, and they believe it's at about 10% of what it can be. And I think the approach that we've always taken from the very beginning is to innovate, is to do things differently. How can we change things? I mean, quite simply, starting at third space, we removed a back bar because we didn't want our baristas to turn their backs on people. And a back bar is just placed to store rubbish.
Absolutely.
And we changed the flow and the interaction and how you interact with the barista. And I think all of those learnings, including our travels and my more recently spending nearly a year in Indonesia, certainly started to shape what it was that, we knew what our business was already. We knew what it could become, but how do we bring in layers of aspects that could enhance that experience? So I think we're now at a stage where we will focus on source, roast, supply, support, our four pillars in helping our own wholesale partners to increase their sales and consistency across the board. So that part of things taken care of. But now, because we have taken an approach that we want to be humble about what we do and how we do things, we've almost downplayed what it is we have, and we will continue to do that. But now I think the time has come in which to show off the stories, not us as a business, but show off the stories within coffee. And that means connecting people with the farm and the process, giving our own staff valuable career paths about the people. And I think the next move we can have a look at is small concepts, stores, whether it is a mobile experience, a pod, a hatch, or even an experiential store. And I think these experiential stores or hatches are going to be quite unique in that we are going to embrace technology to enhance the human experience. Yeah. And I think this is some of it is going to be quite controversial. Yeah. It's like, how far do we want to push this? But I think the bottom line, our guiding principle is, can we be adding value to somebody coming into the store? Can we be telling the story correctly? And connecting those two. And I think what we've seen is in many of the customer experience, they're looking for something simple. They're looking for really good hospitality. They're looking for consistency across the coffee. They're looking for quality, and they're looking for choice. But more than anything, they want to feel part of something. There's a community. So I think our offering now in the stores is going to be quite unique in that we are going to automate a lot of the process. Although you are still going to get a beautiful latte art being poured and served. I'd just like to paint a picture of what these stores are going to be like, so that there is a little bit more of an understanding. And I've always been heavily influenced by Asian designs that approach the senses in a humbler way. And I've always loved the simplicity and the minimalism. We both share exactly that inherent love for that. A lot of Japanese influence as well as the Scandinavian influence. Simplicity, minimalism. But what is the core of what we're trying to achieve. So I think what people can expect in these stores, it's going to be something very, very interesting. In the store, you'd be able to experience that hospitality because the barista, stroke concierge, stroke curator would have the time to engage with you, make you feel more at home, explain the coffees to you. If you just wanted to come in and grab a cappuccino, you could do that. But if you wanted to dive deep, you'd have the time to do that. And then we would bring in the digital aspect, which, and at this stage we don't want to say too much, but there is some exciting stuff happening on how we are connecting you to the flavors. And that would be available in store, along with the very beautiful, clean, simple aesthetics. So quite simply, we're embracing the technology to enhance the human experience. And I think that for us is something we've been working on for a few years now. And I think we've got the package that's really going to change everything. And you'd also, as you come into the store, you'd be able to have a variety of options, maybe a blend, maybe a single origin. As time progresses, you might in the afternoon be keen on a decaf coffee, but very high end. So high end, you would not be able to tell the difference between it being a decaf or a normal coffee. And then there are a couple other things which we would do in the afternoon, which I think would be quite exciting, but we can't give too much away. But safe to say that this is something that is going to change the way people interact and view coffee. And I think we'll do it in such a way to make it more inclusive and open it up to a broader audience. So whether you're somebody who's just getting into the game or somebody who's a seasoned pro, so it's a very, very exciting time for us.
We've been thinking so much about how do we make this holistic. So we've been talking about, how do we make the buying of coffee a little bit easier? How do we make someone connect with an origin without knowing anything about that origin? So we have some thoughts, and we can't share too much around that, but that's going to be coming soon, where on our cartons and on our web, and part of the whole experience, you'll get to be able to make a choice of a particular origin, particular varietal, whatever, based on a certain aspect, and it will be across our whole sort of platform series. And so what's interesting to just talk about for a moment, brother, is the cartons.
Yes.
Because we haven't spoken about that, but I think we need to talk about it because it's very unique to us. It's a beautiful story. We were in a meeting with DLPG, our partners there, recently, and amazing story that you approached them with an idea a number of years ago to put coffee into cartons.
Yeah.
How did share a little bit about that?
So I mean, the carton is iconic. I think what everybody's seen that carton. You've seen it everywhere, but it has always been the domain of high volume MOQ. Even in the days of Nampak, I don't think anybody would have got out of bed for less than 100,000 units, or at minimum 50, whatever it is. So we saw an opportunity to say, what happens if we could do this on a small scale and pack our coffee in there? And there are so many aspects of that carton. It's paper-based. It's got a bore seal reclosure. It is part of the circular economy. It can be recycled. It is highly sought after because it has close-knit fibers. The close-knit fibers are exactly what the recycling guys are looking for. Many companies have set up something together. There's a group called Impact, and Impact will receive those cartons and recycle them. So they use the gain, which means that they would never make their way back to landfill. There are so many beautiful aspects about it. But when we first approached them, we said, look, this is what we want to do. And they said, can you do 100,000 units? And I said, there's no way we could do that. I said, anyway, we like your idea, let's kick the ball around. But they always had the problem of the one-way valve. And I went to some friends in Shanghai, and we were able to solve the problem of the one-way valve. So cartons now have one-way valve. But what happened was, if we wanted the machines to do it, we would have been paying 6 or 8 million rand for a machine. And they scoured the length and breadth of Africa, not South Africa, and found some old machines in Lesotho, old sort of manual machines that had conical cartons, so the ones that have a weird shape. And that's for Maché, and we've seen those things. And this guy who knew that those machines belonged to Nampak at that stage was 2 weeks away from retirement.
Wow.
They went in with a bakkie, pulled it out, and we paid for the R&D to develop those machines, change the mandrels and things like that, and ensure that we could do it manually. So now in-house, we're able to bottom seal, top seal, and ultrasonic weld the cap on. So we're able to take the carton and form, fill, and seal it ourselves. It is the first time this is happening in Africa, and as far as we can ascertain, it's the first time in the world that coffee has been put in cartons. And the very good news is that we are now turning this into a business to help people with low MOQ, to help people in the informal economy, to build hubs around it, to create jobs. I mean, we've got something so beautiful that was started off with like, let's solve our own problem, is now birthed a business. And just keep your eyes peeled on that. Watch what's going to happen, because I think it's going to change everything. Low MOQ, paper-based,
Totally agree.
and at a price cheaper than you can buy a plastic bag for.
Absolutely.
So exciting.
Very, very exciting. There's so much going on. There's so many exciting things. So one thing we've been really, really excited about over the past little while is this initiative that we've launched called the Barista Project. So sort of in partnership with the Rivers Foundation, I just knew that there was something more we could do. We do so much on farm level, but now being able to do something at community level, a local community level, it's just unbelievably special, where we actually take people from underprivileged environments that have been nurtured and developed by Mamanuska at the foundation and Mavuyiswa in Cape Town, where they pick these beautiful souls who have so much potential but have no opportunity, and they prepare them to come into a 4-week program in which we pay them a stipend for 4 weeks, and we give them the most beautiful and helpful training, and obviously from Claire, who we know is incredibly skilled at that, and Madokwe out in Cape Town, and we give them this wide breadth of training across the coffee space, but not just across the coffee space. There's character and there's competence being done together. And then what's so exciting is then we have the opportunity, the beautiful responsibility now of putting them into jobs, taking people from, the streets, potential poverty, giving them a skill and giving them the dignity to actually work in a space. And even further than that, brother, what we've been talking about is, as we start to launch these stores, be able to partner with them as they show competence and commitment, partner with them to actually own or be part owners in these stores as we grow. That's just something that really excites me, because it's beyond just one facet. It's almost a business that becomes sort of generous across all aspects of what we do.
Absolutely. I remember when you first came to me with the idea, the emotion of that, and I was like, gee, I was caught in that emotion as well. And we thought we'd got all these nice little parts together. And I'm not saying like we didn't think about that, but your idea of not just saying, well, we're just going to put people in jobs, we're going to give them valuable career paths. I was emotional about that, and I think the 6 recent baristas that you trained up, that every single one of them has got a job now, and not only a job, they've got the job in some of the best cafes in Joburg. So I mean that for me is amazing, and it shows what can be done. And I think as we progress on this project, which you birthed, and I mean to me this is something so special. We always talk about value upstream and down, but every person, if we can bring them in, is fantastic. But as we start to skill them up in the process of the coffee, there is also the aspect on business management, on being a great concierge, on interaction with customers, on curating the store, on understanding the product. Because normally in this environment, everybody concentrates on we've got to teach them skills. You do this and you've got to do that. And then it just becomes going through the motions. And I think we've seen that in too many aspects. Skill can be taught, but passion is inherent. That's something that you can nurture or you can kill.
Absolutely.
And I think we've got a huge responsibility on our hands now to make sure that the lives of these people are touched in the best way possible and put them into the job market in such a way that they love it. And I think that is both exciting, but it's also, there is a huge responsibility.
Absolutely.
But I think we're very, very excited about where we're finding ourselves, because those who actually they've shown initiative, because we choose the people based on their passion.
Absolutely.
We don't care about the background or the skill. I mean, we can teach the skill, we can teach the process. But those who are going to show even more inherent initiative are going to have the ability to own their own businesses.
Absolutely.
That is now that for me is that's something special, because it gives a whole lot more impetus to what we do.
Yeah.
And this is what people don't realize, is coffee is community. It has the ability to change lives.
Yeah.
And everybody comes and asks us about how should we run the business and how should we do this. My advice is always simple, is if your business does not add value upstream and down, go back to the drawing.
Very good. I love that. Well, I guess we could go on for days, but we probably shouldn't. We've just opened a store in Stellenbosch at this point, and we're excited to see how that scales. And again, just the beauty of seeing lives changed at farm level, again, lives changed at local community level, and then creating beautiful experiences for coffee drinkers as we start to grow and scale, as we start to embrace technology, to really speak to the souls of people, not to be fancy or cool or trendy, but there's that human centricity that drives us, that sense of gratitude for what we get to do. And we hope that it really connects with a lot of people.
Absolutely.